Welcome to a brand new episode of Good Sense by Union Assurance. We are here to discuss about all things surrounding financial literacy with the objective of helping Sri Lankans pursue their dreams. Early retirement may seem like a distant dream, but it's increasingly becoming popular amongst individuals who want to spend their golden years without a financial stress. However, achieving an early retirement requires careful planning, strategic saving and investing. Joining with us today is Nuzhi Meyen, CEO Helios P2P, to discuss on how to secure an early retirement. So welcome to our show, Nuzhi.
Thanks, Sachi. It's a pleasure to be here.
Some people consider early retirement to mean leaving the workforce at the age of 50, 55 or even some at 40. So what does the concept of early retirement actually mean?
So let me start off by prefacing that the concept of early retirement, which I kind of have personally, is based on my personal experience of what I have observed and hypotheses that I have regarding early retirement. That being said, the generally accepted norm for early retirement is when someone is looking at leaving the workforce before the age of 65, but this may vary from individual to individual. For some, this may be at the age of 40 that they're looking to leave the workforce. For others, it could be at the age of 50. And this could be for a myriad of reasons. This could be due to, for example, they have expectations in terms of career goals that they're looking to achieve, in terms of their variety of functions which can affect it, which is like their health, well-being, and the financial situation. So usually financial independence is associated with early retirement, but this is also different from individual to individual. Some may kind of look at pursuing it, for example, for looking at pursuing their passion. For others, it could be to spend more time with family. So depending on individual to individual, the definition for early retirement may vary, and the objective while they are looking to kind of go for early retirement may also vary.
Nuzhi, like you explained what actually an early retirement or the concept of early retirement means, what is the importance of financial preparation in terms of achieving an early retirement?
So financial planning is very important in terms of achieving financial independence, if that's the objective for achieving early retirement. So without having proper financial planning in that sense, early retirement is not even a viable option. So in order to do that, there are certain things that need to be taken into consideration, like what is going to be your current lifestyle expenditure to maintain your current lifestyle, as well as once you're going into retirement, what sort of funds you're expected to have in terms of your employment income is not there at that point in time. So how are you going to sustain that type of retiree life at that point in time as well? So for you to achieve these goals, for example, there are a variety of strategies that you could use. Some of them would be like minimize your leverage in terms of the debt that you're kind of acquiring, as well as look at investing in alternative sort of diverse strategies, for example, as well as possibly look at having more possible income streams. Passive income is also things that you can look at. Apart from that, one of the important things that you should also note is there can be unexpected health costs that can arise especially due to the retirement age, and planning for those, savings for those, in terms of insurance, for example, as well as looking for savings for healthcare associated costs is also important. So financial planning in that sense is very important, because it would help you understand, for you to kind of the expectation that you're planning to live at that point in time, how you can achieve it with a certain sort of predefined metrics.
So like we discussed before, there are so many factors which are surrounding early retirement. What are the advantages of retiring early?
Well, certainly a few things come, top of mind. One is that, they would have more free time as a retiree to kind of spend with your family, to spend on passion projects, things that kind of really matter to you in terms of values in your life. So that is one thing that you could kind of prioritize at that point in time. So apart from that, right, it also gives you the opportunity to kind of have flexibility in terms of your daily routine. So you don't have to kind of work for someone, or work per se according to schedule. So you have the flexibility to kind of arrange schedules and look at how you can work in a daily manner that's unconstrained from the typical work day that you're kind of looking to work within. Apart from that, you can also see it also contributes to longevity, which is you can live it's kind of, you can see in terms of the data, with the stress levels kind of going down, you can look at living a more healthier and a more conscious life in terms of the lifestyles you're kind of looking to live out there. So I think the benefits are there, in terms of a lot of benefits are there in terms of what you can achieve in terms of retiring early. But then the other side of things, you also maybe to achieve that you will have to show greater productivity gains towards the earlier part of your life, where you can maybe secure the financial independence that you're looking to achieve, to kind of look at securing the financial independence for early retirement at the later stage.
Like you very correctly said, longevity, financial independence are some of the advantages of retiring early. But what are the risks in terms of retiring early?
So I kind of see a few downside risks that can potentially occur due to retiring early. One is you might face financial challenges in case you're not adequately prepared. So for example, if you haven't made the correct calculations in terms of these are the provisions that I need to make for in terms of to achieve early retirement, to maintain the kind of lifestyle that I want to live, you might find when you're retired, when you're looking at the retiree age, you haven't achieved the necessary kind of financial independence to secure that kind of lifestyle you're looking to, and this could lead to several implications in terms of you might have to join the workforce again, or it can impact your well-being as well. Apart from that, you can also see when you retire early, and I've seen this in my personal experience from elderly people who have kind of retired early, it can lead to social isolation, which is you're not with if you're used to mixing with a cohort of your co-workers, for example, over time when you retire, you kind of miss that sort of activity that you have, where you kind of exercise the thought process in terms of a work culture and environment, where you're kind of constantly stimulated and find yourself on your toes to kind of respond to things. Along with that comes a sense of being a social animal, where people kind of interact with each other, and the bonds they tend to form in the workplace, for example. So social isolation is also, I think, something important that could crop up if you're into early retirement. Apart from that, you could also say that you have interest rate risks and other financial risks that could kind of occur, like we've seen, like inflation, for example, in Sri Lanka, right? That kind of affects the real interest rate that's out there, and this in turn kind of affects the kind of return that, for example, retirees can get from the savings that they may have invested in certain types of instruments out there for their retirement. So those are some of the risks that I kind of see that can be there potentially in a retirement scenario.
So most people, or rather most of them, want to aspire an early retirement, and then there's a fun component which is involved in this. So how can one determine the funds in order to secure an early retirement?
So yes, I think the first process in the process of this, the first step is kind of identifying what kind of expenses you're planning to incur towards retirement. So at that point in time, you have to have an idea of what sort of lifestyle you're planning to live, associated, health costs that might be there if you're having, your spouse, your family. At that point in time, what are the mechanisms you're going to have there in terms of, supporting them, and as well as that, if you have plans of traveling, all factor in those costs so that you have like a plan. Okay, at retirement, these are the costs that I'm going to incur, and have that kind of quantified so that you have, okay, these are the plan is to kind of retire by this date, and at the point of retiring, these are the kind of expenses that I'm going to incur, and then work backwards towards identifying what sort of income you will be having at the time of retirement. So this could be from your employment income, and then you can see are there other revenue streams that you're looking to kind of account for, maybe passive income, or from your investments, or it could be from side hustles maybe that you have. Apart from that, then you can come at seeing at how much you need to arrive at in terms of savings for retirement. So this you can do, there are retirement savings calculators out there, so you can use those sort of calculators to kind of arrive at this computation, or there are even financial advisors out there who could help you in terms of tailoring and setting up this kind of retirement savings plan that you need to. So at that point in time, it would also be good for you to look at revisiting your investment strategies in terms of the investment portfolios that you're looking to carry. So one thing you could consider is diversifying the portfolio of investments that you have. You could by individual to individual, the preferences could vary. They could be risk averse to kind of risk neutral, or being kind of aggressive on risk. So depending on that, you would have different portfolios that you could carry. For example, if you're risk averse or risk averse, it would be something like a fixed deposit, but where you're looking for maybe higher returns and you're more risk neutral to risk aggressive, you could possibly even invest in like peer-to-peer lending, for example. So there is all these investment strategies that you can kind of look at revisiting, and you kind of see how you want to plug that into factoring back into your savings, right? And as with any good plan, you need to kind of closer towards you're achieving these KPIs or these targets that you have. You kind of look at reevaluating and reviewing. Are you kind of getting there? Are there any adjustments to be done? So the reviewing and kind of continuous feedback that you kind of have towards achieving this plan is also important. So overall, you can set all these processes in place, but you should also have like a review process to kind of understand where you are and where you're kind of setting yourself up to in terms of that plan.
So it's more like working backwards and planning ahead.
Exactly. So you kind of quantify, okay, these are my expenses, these are my savings, and to reach this target, it's like these are the revenue streams I need to have. Is my kind of my employment income going to be sufficient for this? Okay, if it's not, do I what sort of things make me passionate? Maybe that I want to go and do a side hustle, or invest in certain things, and acquiring that kind of knowledge. It could be following certain types of financial news out there. So kind of educating yourself of the investment strategies and investment options that are out there, as well as maybe aligning yourself with maybe revenue streams or side hustles that are in tandem or aligned with your passions. Those are also things that you can look to kind of augment your employment income that you currently earn, right? So these are different strategies that you can use to kind of like look at working back to, this is the kind of lifestyle I want to lead. So this is the kind of income I need to kind of achieve for it. So it's a very metric oriented sort of approach, and by working towards that, okay, this is what I need to do, and you can kind of review it, and in order to do it, it's kind of like a dispassionate way of looking at it, but it also gives you the way of kind of understanding, okay, these are the facts, and it allows you to get down to kind of in cold calculated terms to kind of achieving the targets that you have.
So Nuzhi, we've discussed about the importance of retiring early as well as the risks involved in retiring early. So I want to ask you, what are the top 5 ways a person can achieve an early retirement, or what are the top 5 strategies in terms of achieving an early retirement?
So from my point of view, what I would say in terms of kind of how you could get there towards the objective of early retirement. one of the, I think the topmost things is like, start saving early, which is set aside a fund and, have the goal or objective that you're looking to kind of achieve, and set aside sort of funds saving up in lieu of that. So this could be in terms of, investing it in certain things where you can get compounding growths, and set that aside for, your retirement planning and, the income that you're kind of planning for that. Apart from that, right, you need to also maybe look at increasing your sources of income, so increasing your revenue stream. So if you're kind of maybe potentially working as an employee, you could work at, look at your own side hustles or things that your passion projects that you're involved in that you can monetize. So those are also, outlets that you can look to kind of increase the revenue streams that you currently have to augment, your existing maybe single source of income that you have. Apart from that, another key factor that I humbly believe is, live below your means, which is, try to avoid being over leveraged and having too much debt, because there are a lot of, as we've seen recently, right, you have a lot of financial volatility that can occur, and this can lead to a lot of implications in terms of, how you're kind of navigating, through life at that point in time. So maybe you can avoid societal pressure in terms of certain things, and then look at, living below your means is a very good way of kind of, looking towards the ultimate goal of early retirement. Apart from that, like I mentioned earlier, investment strategies, look at where you can kind of positioning your capital in a most efficient manner to also get the most returns that you can. So look at diversifying, look at portfolios where you have maybe high risk but high returns, as well as the ones where you have maybe low risk but still moderate returns. So diversify, so that the end of the day, given how market conditions can vary in either way, you're kind of hedged against any sort of downside that could occur across different sort of areas. Apart from that, you could also reach out to maybe financial advisors there in different firms, or different advisory capacities, to get a sense of, what are the investment strategies out there available for you, and how you can kind of set up a tailor-made plan for early retirement, or if you have your objectives in mind, you can see what's best suited for you. So working with a financial advisor who has your best interests in heart, and it can also be in terms of how you want to set up the retirement fund, all those stuff, have that in mind, and you can look at working towards that.
Thank you, Nuzhi, for joining with us today.
Thanks for having me, Sachin. It's been a pleasure.
I hope our audience was able to understand the concept around early retirement. So stay tuned with us for another episode on Good Sense by Union Assurance, where we discuss about financial literacy and more.